We've been married about 4.5 years, and in that time, we've had a lot of changes with our career and each of our careers and education-wise and things like that. When we first got married, I've been working for a dropout prevention nonprofit as a social worker there, but I've also completed my master's in that time and gone through my graduate program at the University of Houston.
When Kaitlyn and I first got married, I was apprenticing as a plumber at my father and stepfather's company. About a year ago, I transferred over and began working for Galveston Police Department, going through their in-service academy, and then moving on to the state academy. And through that time, I saw approximately a 50% pay decrease.
Yeah, so when we first got married, things got pretty rough pretty quick because we were both for the first time on our own, and we were paying new bills we hadn't paid before. Within 2 months of getting married, both of us were in car accidents that totaled our debt-free paid-for cars. So those first 2 months brought 2 car notes. We were so scared at the time because we thought we can barely make ends meet right now. Like, we could barely pay rent and do groceries and do the things we needed to do on our incomes, with me at nonprofit and Chase still an apprentice plumber.
And on top of the 2 brand new car notes and just having new bills that we'd never had before, it was also found out pretty early on that there was some debt that I was unaware of that I brought into the marriage. And at the time, given interest and just the nature of the loans that I still had to pay, there were time constraints put on all of that debt, and it all had to be paid back as quickly as possible. And we saw we were able to pay all of that debt back in about a year and a half, despite our budget being what it was at the time.
It was stressful, but we kept saying, you know, God's going to carry us through this. And through that, we just continued to pray through it and ask for God's guidance and everything. And there were many times where I feel like I looked at our bank account and I had accounted for everything we'd spent and everything that had come in, but yet there was still money left over when there shouldn't have been.
And at 4 years, we've already begun the home buying process. We have made an offer on 1 home, and just that deal didn't work out. And we did sustain a pretty hefty financial loss in that deal. But even in a week's time, we've already been able to recoup that loss. 1 week. And it's just been evidence of how faithful God is, how He can calm even the craziest of circumstances. Mm-hmm. Before Kaitlyn and I were married, and as we came together, we both had been holding each other accountable to how we were tithing and how we were giving back what God had given us, how He had blessed us. And that has been a constant, again, before our marriage and even through it now, all the way to 4 years in. We have not stopped. And we find that God has, again, like Kaitlyn said, always made the money work.
We absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, believe that the Lord has got us and He will take care of us, and that it's our responsibility to be obedient and to be faithful. And we have seen time and time again the fruits of that is exactly God's heart, that He will take care of us, and that even when we feel like we can't do it, if we just take that step of faith, God will prove that He can. The fact that we're sitting here now on the market for a home, and that we're searching for a house to buy, and we're in the game, like, it's just really phenomenal whenever you put yourself in that position to trust that God's going to take care of it. He will.